The Brannock device. We are all shoe salesmen here. The Brannock device, in case you don't know, resembles this. This is a shoe salesman's best friend. Okay? Now, I know sometimes when we get busy in here, it's a very strong force of habit to just ask someone what their shoe size is and run to the back and get it. But this can actually help you find the size quicker and make our jobs much more easy. Okay? So, Brannock devices come in all shapes and sizes. We have one for children. We have one that is sized for women. And we have one that is sized for men. Now, since it's all guys here in my audience, this is the one that we're going to kind of be talking about today, because this applies to all of us as examples. Now, the structure of the Brannock device is fairly simple. This is fairly universal for all of them, men's, women's, or children's. You'll see markings here for the length of the foot, and this is reversible for the right and the left foot. There's a slide here that helps you measure the width of the foot, and then we have a slide here that helps us measure the instep length. Okay? So, that's the basic structure of the Brannock device. As far as actually using the Brannock device, well, Daryl, can I swipe you as a guinea pig here? Now, opinions are going to vary as far as whether seating or standing is the better option here. I'm one of those who feels that seating, as far as measuring on the Brannock device, that doesn't matter. It's okay if you sit down. So just sit down there for me, Daryl. That'll make this easier for everybody to see. So what you'll want to do is you'll take this portion here that says right heel. Daryl has his right shoe off, and that's what we'll measure here. Now this is where, as shoe salesmen, we get into the whole interaction with the customer, and the person who trained me, he said this was the time where we do the laying on of hands. So you'll come up here and really make sure that the heel is back in to the back here. Push it in real good and snug, and then what you want to do is you want to find the ball of the foot. And this slide here for the instep, you want to make sure that is mated up squarely with the ball of the foot. And then we have the slide here for the width. Now, for a more narrow foot, you want to go harder in to the foot. For someone who has a wider foot, leave it out a little bit. Leave a little bit of gap. You don't want to go tight into the foot. And this will help you gauge the width. Okay? So once we have all that, and of course at this point, I guess this is where we can be real showmen and kind of put our own flair in it. So don't be afraid to get in there and, make it almost like a doctor's exam. Sort of it's very interesting. This is unique. Yes, very, very interesting here what I'm seeing. And just make something up to make it enjoyable for yourself, because this can get kind of boring day in and day out, just kind of grabbing somebody's foot and smashing it in here. So, after we have this taken care of, as far as getting the foot seated in here properly, then we get to the point where we say, okay, so what exactly does this mean? Well, there's a couple different ways to go. Obviously, where the toe is striking, as far as the length, is going to be important. And you just look down over this, and Daryl is right to about a 10 here. Okay? Now the next thing is to check the instep, because what we're trying to do here is get a gauge of where the widest part of his foot is. And right here on his instep, he's also measuring a 10. So he's pretty even there. And then on the width, according to this, he's at a C width. Now I know we've all had debates and discussions about this before. The width measurement on the Brannock devices isn't necessarily a true indicator anymore, because most of the footwear that we deal with is very generic in medium or wide. They don't do traditional widths like Red Wing is going to do, where they have B's and D's, double E's, and things like that. So this can be a little misleading. This is almost a just an experience kind of thing, where you look at it and we just know, okay, obviously Daryl does not have a wide foot, so there's no real need to pull out a wide shoe for Daryl here. And of course, then that also leads us to the importance of the instep. A lot of times you'll see guys that have an instep that is longer than what their toes measure. If we get into something like that, that'll mean that typically you're going to have to go to a bigger boot than what's just shown here on the length of the toe. Because across the instep, we're gauging the widest part of the foot. And so let's say if the ball of his foot was a little forward here, where instead of being right on the 10, he was up here at the 10.5 or closer to the 11. Sure, as far as his toes go, he could maybe fit into a 10, but that might be too narrow, and so we would have to bump him up a half size to a 10.5 and see if something like that would fit better, because this area here is, in my opinion, more important than the overall length, because the instep is going to be the more true measure of the foot. So let's see how accurate this thing is, Daryl. We'll grab a boot and we'll try it on you and we'll see exactly how you do. Okay, Daryl, so you've got a sample Red Wing on. How's it feeling so far?
Nice. Real nice. That's a 10. I'm kind of surprised that
and
feels that good.
Here we go. We've got, you can just come down here and double check this after they get it on. We've got a good snug fit through here. He's not out over the sole anywhere. And are you, that's a safety toe, so are you too close to the end?
No, I'm not really feeling it at all. I wouldn't want a bigger size in that boot.
So there we go. We've got a good solid fit, and that used the Brannock device. And that's basically what we're shooting for, something where we can go measure the customer, get the size, come back out and get them fitted quickly and correctly. Because something like this wasn't something where Daryl was a customer who came in and said, okay, I think I wear a 9.5, and we end up getting 6 different pairs out before we find the right one. Granted, the Brannock, depending on the brand, isn't always going to be 100% accurate, but it's going to be the best gauge of true shoe size, other than someone's opinion of what they think they may wear.